Yeah, Carol, this is Dave. Can I comment on that?
Yeah, please.
I just I was thinking one of our mentors had a great statement, and he starts out about this whole process we're all talking about. He says it's not your fault, and it doesn't mean we're not responsible, but what he's putting in perspective. I mean, just to regress just slightly, you know that I do humanitarian aid work, training police, and helping children become more safe in places like Darfur and Sudan.
Yeah.
And it's a whole different worldview in another culture where there isn't an obsession with food. My gosh, most of the time there isn't food. I mean, and yet you'll see kids in certain settings that are happy and playing and having hope. But it's a whole different mindset. What I hear when a mentor says to me, it's not your fault, I think of our culture that we're in, maybe even especially in the last 10 years, it is overwhelming, and it's happened slowly, almost where you don't see it, an undercurrent. The processed foods you mentioned at the beginning of the program has become such an epidemic. It takes concentrated effort to go out and know what to do to avoid the pitfalls that can be literally slowly killing us if we're not conscious of what we're putting in our mouths. And this program is so comprehensive in the fact that it is truly easily attainable. The dreaming that Nancy's talking about with the idea of the bucket list and the whole concept of dreaming about what your why is isn't a motivational line. It's our reality, and we get so excited about our clients as they get excited. We have one client that it seems like such a simple thing, but I know it's a big thing for this person. He's going to be qualifying for his black belt at a competition coming up in a few months. And he wants his body to match the event. He's got these extra pounds on. He has all the skills necessary for this competition. But he wants to get that weight off. But the weight, which is coming off just perfectly for him, but what's been exciting is just to watch his eyes light up, not just about the weight, but just his energy, his excitement. Because it's attainable, it just becomes really exciting, and the long-term aspect of it is probably the most important aspect, much more than just saying, let's lose fill-in-the-blank amount of pounds. Much different than a typical yo-yo diet kind of mentality.
Right. All right. So, Steve, Jenny, what are your reactions as you're hearing this dialogue? What are you thinking about? Who do you remember that you've mentored that has had that impression on you as well?
Well, I'll tell you about a young man whom I've been recently coaching, and he's only 22 years old. He had over 100 pounds of weight to lose, and that would be according to what he felt like and not necessarily the BMI. But it really is improving his entire quality of life. So when he talks to me, and we talk once a week, he'll call in, and the excitement that he is feeling about where his life is heading, it has just changed so dramatically, and it just lights up my life to hear about it. I really get kind of a kick out of me. He says, Steve, girls are noticing me. and so, really when we talk about it, it's not just about your physical health, but it's also about how you feel about yourself, about your emotional health, your psychological health. And when I think about 5 years ago where I was, and I had gone in for my physical examination, and my doctor used the word imperative for the first time in regard to my blood pressure and my cholesterol levels. So my primary concern was really, medically something that I really needed to change. So everybody, and this is what Nancy was talking about, everybody's why is going to be different, because we have some people who have very little, if any, weight to lose, yet they still may have high cholesterol, or they still may have high blood pressure. They may, be even still borderline type 2 diabetic, but yet there is something in this program to help everybody.
That's very exciting. So, Jenny, how about you? Who do you remember helping that was so exciting to see change?
Well, what I really love is helping somebody from the very beginning ultimately reach their goal. And I think to me that's the most fulfilling thing to be able to pay forward with another individual. And like Dave, I probably prior to this this whole journey was lacking in empathy, and I've had just from my own journey such incredible personal growth and personal development that's enriched my life. So to share that with other people, and again, it just goes way beyond losing some LBSs, right? It's enriching their lives, and then many of those people, like Dave and Nancy, have the opportunity and decide to pay it forward as well and support other people. So it's just an entire chain reaction, one person at a time, of creating health in this country, and we have an epidemic with obesity right now. So it's just been an honor to make a difference in my lifetime in this way, and I truly believe it's my calling and my purpose. So just overall through the years, literally helping hundreds of people now achieve their greatest desires and organize their life around the things that matter most to them. I mean, I could be having a rotten day.
Diseases, and that's obesity. And excuse me for calling it a disease. I'm going to just do it that right, and I'm going to classify it that way because it has so many ramifications. The Department of Health, the Department of Mental Health, the federal government has been very clear that obesity is probably the leading cause of a series of other complications that we spend a tremendous amount of money and time on in our medical professions. And in my profession as a psychologist, people are spending a lot of time not being healthy, and it makes the brain chemistry so different, it makes the body chemistry so different that depression sets in very deeply and anxiety sets in very deeply. Relationships are harmed because people don't have the energy to invest in the vigor and the love and the time that it takes to really be present with the loved ones in their life. So that the body is such an essential vessel for every experience that's going to make us feel alive and capable. And so to know that we can change the way we feel physically and the way we look physically so that we are alive again, we're back into being able to make life happen is, of course, my message to people. So I heard about this program, asked to be able to bring you all on because I wanted people to hear that there are avenues out there that they can really embrace that is going to enable them to be able to make life happen the way they want to, including the impact on their body. So I believe the four of you are exemplary in being able to say, hey, I've done it with myself. I'm so excited to be able to help other people do it with themselves as well. So any of you, Steve, Jenny, Nancy, Dave, what else would you like to say about this program? They're all quite implicated.
I guess I'll just jump in and I think a key component for me that makes what we're doing different is, when we look at our society, we're raised and we're taught even in schools to be very problem-driven oriented, aren't we? We're problem solvers, and we're not taught as much to create outcomes and focus on that vision and the why as much as we want to get rid of a problem, solve a conflict, or eliminate a fear. And when you look at that mindset in the context of, quote, dieting, it really sets everyone up for that yo-yo cycle, and there's a definite, reason behind that, a psychological reason. What we really help people do for the first time for many of them is moving from being problem-driven to outcomes-driven. And that's the kind of motivation that keeps us moving forward in whatever it is we're trying to achieve. So just because we get rid of a problem doesn't necessarily create the desired outcome that we want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anybody else?
Well, I think I'd like to just emphasize, too, the things that we teach clients that actually they carry forth for the rest of their life. And some of those things are, for me,